Well, hello, Mary Beth. Thank you for having me here today. I want to talk about my series. It's the New Orleans Go Cup Chronicles. I'm working on book 9. There are 8 books right now. And with the season being Halloween and October fall, I thought I would read something from my latest book in the series, which is Voodoo Victims and Vows. It has a little bit of the fests that go on around this time of year in Louisiana and New Orleans. I write New Orleans cozy mysteries. So usually it's pulled from something that's happened in the area or people I know who've done some of these crazy things, and then I fictionalize it in my stories. So I would like to read you a few pages from Voodoo Victims and Vows, Book 8 and the New Orleans Go Cup Chronicles. Strange things happen in New Orleans, and yet at the time they happen, they always seem so normal. Chapter 1. Dense fog slithered into New Orleans, spreading like mercury over the first weekend in October. By Monday morning, it was choking the city in a heavy, wet mist. I could imagine my dad looking out his kitchen window, pouring a cup of coffee, saying, "Boy, it's thick as pea soup." It was 7:15 a.m. and still dark out as I walked to my car. I couldn't see the roof on the house across the street. The wet air made my shoulder-length blonde hair feel damp, like I just stepped out of the shower. I found a scrunchie in the cubby, and I used it to pull my hair back in a ponytail. I had to use my windshield wipers and headlights on the drive to work to see just a few feet in front of me. It looked like evening into night instead of morning into day. My office felt oppressive, like a dark, damp cave. Even with all the fluorescent lights on in the building, it was lunchtime before my phone rang. "Randy, I'm glad to see you made it to work," Jeff said when I answered. "I wanted to drive you this morning, but I had to be here early to prep for this trial." I had to use my wipers. "It's odd weather for October, don't you think?" I said. "Weather's always odd here," he said. "How about Napoleon House after work?" "You know, that's my favorite place." We agreed on a time to meet, and I hung up. Jeff and I were closing on our first house together in 2 weeks. We were getting married in 4 weeks. Every day I woke up feeling like I was living the fairy tale, marrying into the royal family. I floated through my day. While I couldn't see through the fog, it didn't do much to dampen my spirits. My name is Brandy Alexander, and you would think from my name I work as a dancer on Bourbon Street. Instead, I work for a large telecom company in fraud identification and prevention. My job is fairly boring, but I have a sixth sense or talent for finding inconsistencies in data. Not exciting, but it pays the bills. What is exciting is that my talent helps me see what is often or inconsistent in crimes, and I've helped the police solve a few. Odd thing, the police are not overly grateful, especially since I grew up next door to the captain, Dante D. of New NOPD Homicide Department. It was 5:30 when I called my fiance back to tell him I was leaving the office to walk over to his law firm in Canal Place. He said he'd meet me at the back of the building, the corner of Iberville and North Peters. "Wow, it looks like the Day of the Dead out here," he said after giving me a hug and a kiss hello. "This is the worst fog I've ever seen. From our office windows on the top floor, it looks like we're sitting on a cloud. I couldn't see the river below us or the French Quarter. We don't get fog here very often," I said, squeezing his arms tight. "It feels creepy tonight." The fog was heaviest near the river where we walked along St. Peter to St. Louis Street on the way to the Napoleon House. It didn't linger over our meal like we usually do, and the fog left a heavy weight on the evening. As we walked back to Jeff's office building, I could only see as far as the middle of the block. There was no traffic tonight, no horns blasting at tourists who never look where they're going. It was eerily quiet on Decatur Street for 8:30 on a Monday night. As we crossed the intersection, I heard a clack clack sound much like my high heels tapping on the old French Quarter brick sidewalks. The sound grew louder with every step. Out of the fog loomed 2 legs with an old manual typewriter sitting on someone's lap. As we got closer, I could see a recessed doorway with a man sitting on a crate, his legs extending out into the sidewalk. He looked to be in his 70s, clacking away on an old Underwood typewriter. He had a few sheets of paper in the open part of the crate facing the street. He faded into view like a ghost. He was dressed in a worn tweed jacket and what appeared to be velvet trousers. He was clean and well-groomed. His newsboy hat, made popular by the Irish, covered a thick head of gray hair that fell from underneath to his jacket collar, matching his bushy gray eyebrows. The hat was a dark brown herringbone tweed like his jacket. His round spectacles sat on the end of his long nose that fit his long face. As we walked past him, he said, "Wait." He held up one hand and pulled out the sheet in the typewriter with the other and handed it to me. When I hesitated to take it right away, he shook it at me saying, "Take it." Jif reached for it, and the man said, pulling the paper away from Jif for a moment, "It's not for you, it's for her." And he handed it to me. He didn't smile or appear threatening, just businesslike. So I took it. It read, "3 things will happen to you in the next 4 weeks, and they will change your life. Beware of the third. You can't stop it." I just stood there wondering what this meant. Before I could ask, he had already rolled up another sheet of paper and began typing in again in deep concentration. The sound of steps approaching made me look in that direction. The man said, "You must go. I need to prepare for the next one." Jeff pulled me along. So that's book 8. And my other books start with Rescue by a Kiss, which is book 1. Now, the people in my stories all move forward from the first book to the current book. And they meet different quirky characters along the way that help our Brandy Alexander, amateur sleuth, solve the mysteries that happen.